Sonia Kami. Hi, Sonia. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, we are happy to have you. We have Adeola Umor. Thank you for coming. And we have Dunni Esturi also. Thank you for joining us today. We are so glad to have you guys come share your wealth of knowledge with us. So we're going to get started. I'm going to introduce the guests, and then I'm also going to introduce our host, and then we're just going to start this discussion just so we don't waste any time at all. So our first guest is Sonia Kami. Sonia Kami is an entrepreneur. She owned a travel company for 25 years. She's the owner of a health and wellness e-commerce business. She's a patron of a school in Nairobi. She's passionate about the environment, about helping other entrepreneurial women. She's raised 3 amazing sons as a single parent, and she's wife and mother of a blended family of 8 young adults. And she's here to share a wealth of experience with us. Thank you so much for coming, Sonia Kami. We're so glad to have you here. Our second guest is Adeola Umor, and she's a registered nurse. She's founder and owner of Events by Epi, a self-taught decor expert. She's an accredited event designer with the Institute of Wedding and Event Design. She's co-lead of RCTGPPP Youth Church. She's my pastor. She's also choir lead at RCTGPPP. Thank you so much for joining us, Adeola. We're so glad to have you here. We're so glad to hear from you.
Thank you. Can you hear me though? Just so I...
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. And our third guest is Dunni Esturi. So she's a British and Canadian trade accountant. She has over 23 years experience in insurance, in banking, in government, and non-profit and business entrepreneurship. She's an investment, insurance management, and financial education expert. She's founder and host of the leading Ladies Can Network. She's a worshiper of the Most High and a gospel artist. She's co-lead at RCCG Woman Glory Tabernacle, and she's an amazing wife and mom to 3 boys. And we also have her here with us. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you guys so much for coming. We are so glad to have you here. And we also have our host, the founder of LadiesArise, that's going to be joining the panel to discuss with us and to ask questions. I'm sure everybody here knows her, Sister Anita. She's our host. She's the founder of this LadiesArise, author of Revealed, best-selling author. I'm already calling it out. And she's going to be joining the panel today. She's going to be asking them questions. It's going to be kind of like a question and answer session, and also a discussion. If anybody has questions, they can raise their hand, or they can also send it through the chat option, and then we're gonna answer those questions and address them. So without any further ado, we're gonna get started. I'm gonna hand it over to you, Sister Anita.
All right, thank you, Ife. Can everybody hear me? Just being sure. Okay. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, and Dunni for being here. Thank you, IBK, Adeola. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you so much for being here. And thanks everyone for joining us. I know more people are still going to trickle in as we go along. So it's great to be here. For those who may not know, LadiesArise actually runs on a cycle, September to June cycle within the year. So that means that this is officially our last event for this cycle. And we just thought that it was best to leave people with something that as they leave for the summer, as you're enjoying the summer, please start to think about other ways that you can, add additional income to yourself. As women, I always say that women empowerment is incomplete without financial empowerment. And, research shows that many millionaires have multiple streams of income. And I used to think it was just 1 or 2 until as I started to read and dig deeper, I found out that it can be up to 7 different streams of income. One question that for me really triggered this was, if I were to lose my job, and we know people who lost their jobs over the pandemic, what's my fallback plan? And I don't think I liked the answer that I got for myself, at the time. And not to mention, if we really start to dig through all the mortgages and all the childcare costs and everything, what really is my net income? You may be in a 500K house, but it doesn't mean you're rich. And so knowing all that and really thinking about all that, and Dunni is here. She's actually been my family's financial planner for the last 7 years now. I feel like I met her right off the bat. I got into this country, and some of the questions she has asked since then has left me and really impacted me even till today. And we're going to learn about that. We're going to learn about the businesses that each of these women do. But much more than that, we're also going to learn about how they got into the businesses that they do. And that's what we're talking about. So, like Ife said, if you have any questions, please just use the raise hand button or type them in the chat, and we will get through them. This is a conversation that we're all going to be having. Yes, our panelists are going to be talking and sharing their experiences and sharing tips and wisdom with us. But it's something that we also want each and every one of us to participate. As a matter of fact, one of our panelists is actually currently at the place of her work business, right? Are we still there, IBK? We're still there. So you actually, maybe if we're lucky, we might actually see her bring one of her event rooms to life as we go along in this. So we actually get hands-on practical experience. So don't say we didn't give you practical. It's not just theory, and so we're gonna see her do what she knows to do best. I still think about all the different times that I've enjoyed the beauty of her work. And Sonia, I met Sonia through Dunni's ladies networking event, and she's such a powerhouse. I don't know how she has raised that many children. It feels like she's raised nations, and still looks so young and beautiful, and having run her home business for so many years. And I'm starting to really deal with that piece of health for myself as well personally. So I'm really excited to have everyone. Before we jump into all the conversations and everything, can we everybody just do me a favor, type in the chat box. Tell me 1 or 2 passions that you have. Tell me 1 or 2 passions that you have. I'm just curious to see. I'm sure by now I already know my own passion. Talking is definitely high up there on the list. Especially when I have to talk to amazing, beautiful women and just share ideas. I just want to know I don't know if you can see the chat. Communicating, awesome. Communicating, yes. So maybe that's a better way to say mine. Communicating. I love to communicate too. It can be more than one thing too. It can be more than one thing. I'm just really curious to see how many things each of us have here. Talking is one for me. Music. Women's health, yes, women's health. If you didn't complete it, yours is women's health, women advocacy. Complete it. It's not just the health, it's all things women. Helping people, that's another one of mine. Helping people, advocating for people, speaking for people who can't speak for themselves. Come on, there are more people in this in the house today than the numbers that we're seeing. Others are still typing. Theirs is very heavy. Health, my health, women's health, the environment, the planet. Yes, that's from Sonia. Thank you so much. And Sydney also said helping people. Yep. Planning. Yes, Funks. Funks actually planned. She was the lead planner for my book launch. And if you thought it was amazing, yeah, some of us were just there. We're just out there because we're the ones that people are seeing and they think it's us. It wasn't me. Funks was the unseen hand behind the lead of that planning. Thank you so much, Funks. Fashion, Fatsi says fashion, singing, helping and talking, dancing. Yes, Taya blesses us a lot with some of those her dance moves that she has still not brought me on board for, but I'll probably just disgrace her and disgrace myself. So now the next question I have for us is, how many of us have ever thought about transitioning any of these passions into a business? Yes, Precious says helping, business, singing, family. Precious, add makeup there, fashion and makeup, fashion and teenagers. Busy says, Busy add hair and beauty. She loves to beautify women. You're probably wondering, how do you know everything everybody is doing? I like to know people I hang out with. That's one of the things I love, is I love to understand people. I like to understand why people behave the way they behave, why they do the things they do. Fashion and makeup. Awesome. How many of us have thought about turning any of these things, or have already turned any of these things into some form of, stream of income? Baking, yep, cooking. Any says cooking, baking. Now the people that are still cooking and baking, let me see, so I know where I'm going after this for lunch. Traveling. Oh, I love that too. So as we're getting into, I just really want us to start thinking about it. Which of us have started thinking about transitioning any of this into some form of income, or you have already transitioned some of this into some form of income? All right. And while you're thinking about that, you can share with us as well if you have, and what that is. And while you're thinking about it, I just want you to really start to challenge your thoughts and really start to think through all those different gifts. None of us mentioned just one thing. That's the interesting part. None of us mentioned just one thing. And I'm sure if I start to ask around the room, how many of us, our 8 to 5 jobs are within those areas of passion that we've talked about? Chances are that not all of us have them tied around the passion that we have identified. Yet passion is such a very vital and important piece of carrying us through, motivating us through whatever it is that we do. And it is on that note that we will how to channel that into some form of income, into some form of profit that adds to our streams of income that we're having this conversation. So by the time we come back in September, I'm really hoping to see that people have, set up businesses, people have started doing something. Maybe someone will go into YouTubing. Maybe someone will take their YouTubing a lot more seriously. I'm speaking to myself as well. So without much ado, welcome again to me, Sonia and Adeola. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to start with Sonia. And I'm going to say that, so the first question really I want our panel to talk about is just tell us about your business, what you do, and then who are your ideal clients? Because I know you know your business better than I do. So just tell us a little bit about that, and let's start from there.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this. So as was mentioned, I owned a travel agency for 25 years. I sold it because I was looking for more time freedom, more time to do the things that I really wanted to accomplish in life. And boy, do I have a lot of things that I want to accomplish in life. But I still work in the travel business. So I actually have 3 streams of income. I am a travel agent. I am a reflexologist. And I've also become an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is an entrepreneur that hooks into a product or a company that's already established. And so that's what I do. So I have an e-commerce health and wellness business. We make amazing, amazing personal care products like skincare, like body care, makeup, nutrition, that are all non-toxic and chemical-free. We are vegan, which is a huge part of the industry now, and we are cruelty-free, which is again growing amazingly. So people use these products every single day. We all use these products every single day, and I make a residual income from that. So it allows me to have other time to concentrate on other things that I want to do. What I also do is I teach people how to build a global virtual business. This is a business that I run from my laptop or my cell phone. So it gives me time to be out. So if I'm out volunteering or I'm out traveling or out visiting friends or family, I'm never far away from my business. It's always close by me. So I help them build their own business in a B Corp certified company. A B Corp certified company is a purpose-driven company. And so we care about the environment, we care about the planet, we care about the people on it. Health and wellness is the fastest growing industry on the planet. And I saw a need, I saw a niche, and so here I am. Thank you. Oh, my perfect client. my perfect client. I actually have 2. I mean, I sell these products. I also help people build their own businesses. So my perfect client is somebody who cares about their health, cares about their family's health, cares about, because health is our biggest asset. There's nothing more important than our health. We can have all the money, we can have all the status, we can have, all the everything we wanted, but we don't have our health. None of that matters. So I help people be healthy, whether it's to look better, feel better, lose weight, just be overall healthy. And then I also help people who have big dreams, people that, want more, know that there's something out there for them. They deserve it. They can stake their their time on it. And I help them to achieve that as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Sonia. That is great. So you guys, you can see that they're proving the theory of that millionaires have more than one stream of income. I don't know if they're millionaires, so don't go asking them for money. but yeah, so there's even more than two, right? And I'm pretty sure there's probably like investments and whatnot. We haven't even talked about that yet. Chances are, I just feel like if you know Dunni, you have some form of additional financial investment somewhere happening in your life. All right, thank you so much, Sonia. Adeola.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here. Can everybody hear me well? Awesome. Okay. So my name is Adeola Umor. I am a registered nurse by profession. I stumbled into decor, and I'm using that word stumbled. Yeah, I stumbled into decor. I didn't go. It wasn't a planned thing. You know how some people have like a 5-year plan. I want to do a business. No, it was nothing like that for me. So I stumbled into decor, but I'm thinking that as we go on in the discussion, I'll be able to tell you more about that. So I still work full-time as a public health nurse, and I still do decor on the side. So those are my two streams of income at the moment. And I can probably break it down also with time as we go on in the discussion. So it's two, but in a way it can be divided. Let's put it that way. The other thing is my ideal client. Okay. This is interesting because I like clients that trust me. I like clients that would say, go ahead, just do it. I believe that you can. I don't like clients that play safe. I don't like clients that second guess what I can do. So I like it when people can actually take something off, that is not on my page, not something I've done before, and say, I believe you can do this design, do it. And I think that's where I thrive the most. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adeola. Wow. People run away from challenge, and it's like you're running to challenge. I don't know how many of us have seen the movie Home, where the booth was saying to the girl, "What is this with you humans? You, I'm trying to do it in the boo voice. It's not working. But anyway, but he says, boos run away from challenge, from fear, from things that scare them, and you humans, you run into." No, he didn't get that right. Humans don't naturally just run into challenges, actually. But that's good, because the truth is that's how we grow. So it's really great to hear. So we're going to hear more about that stumbling. I'm really looking forward to that, because some of us really have stumbled into things that we do, but then we get stuck and we're like, okay, how do I move forward from here? This sounds nice. It sounds good. I've stumbled into this idea. No one has thought about it, or there's a good market for it, but how do I go about it? So thank you. We're looking forward to hearing more about that. Auntie Dunni, I'm struggling between the auntie and non-auntie, because I feel like I'm calling everybody else by their name, but I'll let you tell me what you want me to do.
Babe, just call me Dunni. Is there somebody you want to call auntie? Sonia. Sonia owns the auntie and big sister title here today. Hi, Sonia. Beautiful to see you. Love you, babe. All right. Well, hey, hello, ladies. A couple of names I know. I wish I could see more of the faces. It would have been beautiful to see more of you. Some I haven't seen in a while. For those that know me and those that don't know me, my name is Ola Dunni. Well, my business is I have a business, and then I have what I call passions, and I have children too. You can hear them. So you're probably gonna see one of them pretty soon. So welcome to Juggling Life. Hello. And sorry, we are on holiday in Florida, so he's kind of naked because we just came back from the beach.
Oh boy. So that actually just shows us what multiple streams of income can give
Yes.
you.
we, we just came back
Bring
from the
us
beach, and I was
nakedness
like,
though.
so sorry he's naked. I'm sorry. All right. So the first business I do, I run a financial services brokerage. I franchise out with a financial services company, and I help families with their finances, anything from planning for the future, retirement, kids' education, making sure they have the right type of protection, getting out of debt, which is a big, big issue here in Canada, and helping people just structure whatever their finances is. For me, I kind of didn't stumble into it. I kind of took a 9 to 5. I found a way to make a business out of a 9 to 5. I trained in insurance. I love insurance. I know nobody loves insurance. They always joke that nobody wanted to sell insurance, right? People used to think insurance agents are like terrible people, but I wanted to sell insurance. I loved insurance as a child, right? So I chose to study insurance, and then when we moved to UK, I kind of diverted from insurance slightly and studied accounting. And I loved accounting too, but I love people more, right? I love communicating with people, and most accountants are kind of stuck behind their desks. Forgive me, any accountant in the room or YouTube. Um, but I really wanted to do something that keeps me in front of people. So in the UK, I started my own accounting practice, helping um, charities and small business owners. When I came to Canada, I decided, you know what, I want to go back to my first love, helping people plan for the future. I really felt I made more impact there. I could see the impact of what I was doing with the families I was serving. And it just makes me feel like a superhero when I sit there and help them create things and see that grow. So yeah, I could do it for free. Actually, when I started the business, I was doing it for free because I just loved it. Um, and then I also am a gospel artist. I literally came out from the studio yesterday with a cousin, just recording a new song we're working on. And again, that was another passion I just kept doing on the side. I've been in choirs all my life and decided to, you know what, step up and serve God and serve people with that. So those are the things I do now. My ideal client on my financial business side, are typically families, people who have young kids, people who are looking to buy their own home, or people who are just kind of in transition, about to retire, or stuff has happened in life and they need to restructure their life. I'm able to help those people best. Thank you.
Hey, awesome. Thank you so much. We're one of those people that have been helped. All right. I still remember the first time we had to clear out some debts. Oh, it felt like a lot. And then I remember the next time we came and we were trying to clear out another debt. This time it was student loans. And then it felt like, oh, okay, yeah, we can pay it off. It's no big deal. I remember we had the conversation of, wow, remember the first one was nothing near this, and it felt like, oh my God, how are we going to pay this off? Okay, please, if you don't have a financial planner, you need one, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I really like that, there's that dynamic and all that. So usually it is said that people find their niche in business through a couple means, and I'll just talk about some of those means. One of it is a strong passion, something that you're really passionate about. And I mean, the theme of today is passion to profit. So if you already have a passion area, maybe it might be good to start thinking, so, okay, how can I transition that into a business? But it might not seem to be yielding much, which then brings us to another way that people sometimes can identify a need to do business. Maybe they see a strong problem, that bothers them enough to want to do something about it. I know for me, it's one of the ways I got into coaching, and I'll do it for free, but we'll talk about how I ended up into the business instead. So you're seeing a problem, people are struggling, maybe families, somebody dies and then there's no insurance, and then an avoidable situation like having to do, maybe say, GoFundMe for burial arrangements that could have been avoided with insurance, and you're like, no, we can deal with that. There's a way to prevent yourself from being in that kind of place. Another way is that you have acquired lots of knowledge in a particular area. either through formal training or other forms of opportunity. Some people just love to read and research things, you know, and you might have researched and read enough that you start to see that there are opportunities to transition that knowledge and pass it to other people through a business. Might be a personal experience with overcoming issues. All right. I could have shared my story, for instance, just share. And in writing the book, it really wasn't just about I'm looking for additional income. That just happened to be a side, something that comes with it. It's kind of like the icing on the cake, so to speak, right? And there are people who have decided that that's the business that they are going to pursue is author books, and they share stories of things that they themselves have experienced as a way of helping other people, but also with the intent of I'm also trying to build a business out of this. A new trend that no one has caught on to, or not a lot of people have caught on to. I think about some kinds of businesses like GNLD and Forever Living. When those kinds of businesses first came to light, the joke is that it's those who got in first that usually make the most money. Maybe true, maybe not, I don't know. But maybe a new trend. Now the new trend is everybody has to be in tech, but let's not even get into that conversation today. An exceptional skill that one has. Maybe you identify that you're really good at something. All right. I know, like Funke, for instance, that she's really good at planning. She can decide to set up her own consulting management firm, knowing that she does planning in a way that nobody else might be able to. I've seen people set up management consulting firms just out of this, or training platforms out of this. So these are some of the things and ways that people are set to find their business niche. And so I just wanted to know from each of you, like, what was it for you? I know Adeola mentioned stumbling. So if stumbling is not even part of it, but then stumbling should be on that list, please add stumbling to the list and tell us what stumbling looked like for you. So Dunni, I'm just going to start with you and just work my way back this time.
Thank you. Okay, so mine started out at a prayer meeting. I am a Christian, so in case you're hearing all of spiritual things coming out, it's from my roots. My pastor's wife gathered women and they were praying, and my pastor's wife kept saying, every woman should have some kind of business, some kind of income, and she was just encouraging us. And I'm like, I've heard this thing for a while, but I'm not a business person. I'm not someone that would do business, so I rather not. So I was talking to her about it, and a lot of people, and they were saying, pray about it. So I would be at work, and it would be lunchtime, and I would be like, what am I good at? What can I turn into a business? And all of that. And I will really pray about it, but nothing was coming to me as something that I actually can do. So at the end of the day, one time like that, I just realized that I love to watch Pinterest. Like any downtime at work, I'm on Pinterest. I'm on Pinterest just looking at pictures, birthdays, weddings, especially weddings. I'll just look and look and look. And then one day at work, my sister called me, my younger sister, and she's been planning her wedding. And she said, oh, I finally went to meet some of these people in Calgary, and they were telling me that it's going to cost tens of thousands to get this decoration done. I'm like, why? Why would it cost tens of thousands? No, it can't. I said, let me give you the number of this other person. Call that person and see if that would work. And as I dropped the phone, it was like, you can do it. You can do it. And I'm like, yes, I can do this. I can actually, do this. And I started looking at all the Pinterest. I was like, yes, I can do this. I can pin this. I can do this. And I was really excited. And then I called her back and I'm like, I found someone for you. I found someone. She's from Regina, but she said she can come down. She can drive down and she can do it for you. And she was like, oh, really? How much will she cost? Will it cost? And I said, I'll find out. And I put numbers together, rough numbers. I don't even know how I got those numbers. I put something together and I'm like, oh, it's this amount. She was like, wow, that's great. Please give me her number. And I'm like, let me call you back. Because it was going to be my number. So I was like, I don't think she's going to allow me use her wedding as the trial and error. I'm like, oh my God. So I told my other sister and she's like, tell her she'll be fine. So I finally called my sister. I'm like, okay, fine. It's me. I'm the person. I feel like I can do this. but you have to pay because I don't have anything. I have to buy stuff, so you have to pay. But I feel like I can put things together and all that. She's like, yes, sis, yes, do it, sis, do it. And that was how we did the wedding. And honestly, I started having dreams about how to put things together. And it was weird because I was like, because I'll be thinking, I will go to bed and I would just think, how am I going to do this? I don't know how to do this. And I'll have a dream and it's like someone is like telling me and I'm like, oh. And that was how it started for me. And then finally I would do that. I did the wedding. The wedding turned out really great. And then I started doing little things on the side, but then I was not doing great. Like I was not liking the decor I was bringing out. The wedding was fine, but every other one is like, I feel like there's something I'm missing. So I decided to go to school for it. And then I did a little bit of training online for it through the Institute of Wedding and Events Decor in the US. And then got a little better in what I was doing. And then I just keep getting better by God's grace. So that was how it started. And, my mother-in-law one time did a decoration I did. She was like, she just came to me and she registered the business without telling me. Registered it and said, I've registered your business. Start. And that was how it started. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, stumbling should be on that list. Go to church should be on that list. Listen to your pastor's wife should be on that list. Because that is just wow. And I mean, I'm a Christian, so
pray about it should be on
the list too. And the truth is that faith is, if faith is part of the core of who you are, truth is it is who you are, all right? And I don't think it's fair to try to ask people to separate that part of themselves from living out their daily life. My family actually has a gift of cooking, apparently. And I know that I heard my grandma and some of my aunties, and quite frankly, it's happened to me too. Sometimes you just get a dream and you're like, and someone gives you a recipe, or you see yourself just putting something together. Wake up, try it, and voila, we have a new recipe. But we're Nigerians, we don't record recipes. We just go as our ancestors lead us, right? So if you tell me to recreate it for you, I can do it, but don't ask me for the recipe because I can't tell you this is the amount that will feed 4 people and we cook for nations. All right, so thank you so much for sharing. Ivike, thank you. And I like something that she said, that even though the first one turned out really great, so you can stumble into doing something, it turns out great, but then there's the place of understanding the need for formal training and learning and going to seek after that formal training and way of doing things, because excellence, you cannot achieve excellence without skill, and you cannot achieve skill without some form of learning and continued practice. And boy, we all need people like that mother-in-law in our corner, either as a friend, as a sister that would say, hey, you're slacking, I've registered the business, now there's no going back. So it's really great. Thank you so much for sharing. Dunni?
Hi. How did I get into business? I think it was a combination of two of those things you had there, skill and personal experience. So skill for me has been, like I said, growing up, my mother wanted me to be a lawyer. And I was like, nope, I don't want to be a lawyer. And I went and dug out, what do I find interesting? And someone was telling me about insurance. I'm like, what do they do? They're like, oh, they help people get this service they don't want to get, and they show them how to. And I was kind of like a stubborn child. I'm like, I can do that. I can help people get something they don't know they want, but they actually need. And I went to study it, and I just loved the idea of creating backup plans for people, right? That's kind of how I saw insurance, as creating a backup plan for people when things go wrong, right? I felt like I was being there, providing a service for them. So that was kind of my training. And then I studied accounting also, and I love to help people and take numbers and break it down. But I was working 9 to 5, and then I got pregnant, had 2 miscarriages, and my employer at the time, I had 2 miscarriages and went on depression. We're living in the UK. I was clinically depressed. I was, being treated for depression. And my employer was trying to throw me off work and claim I was lying, that I was depressed. I was lying, I was sick. And it was just a mess. And And I was like, it was so much pressure. I had to go back to work eventually. And their doctor kept saying, Madam, if you go back to work, you're going to end up back here in front of me, taking treatment and saying, and doing counseling again, which I was like, the pressure was much to go back to work. So I went back to work again. And literally 3 weeks later, I was kicked out of the office because all I could do was cry at the pressure going on. And after that, I just hated working for somebody else. I did not want a boss. I didn't want somebody telling me when to take time off work. I didn't want somebody telling me if I deserved to take a break after losing 2 pregnancies. And we were trusting God for children. And I just hated somebody having that much control over me, and I did not want it anymore, right? So after I got better, I volunteered my time with some charities and found out that charities, churches, small charities helping the community struggle to get their accounting done. And I was like, I could do it for you for free, right? So I started literally looking for any church in the UK then or any charitable organization that served people and offered my services to them to do their accounting and their books. And it just gave me peace out of the depression I was coming out of, that I was serving somebody else. Right? And I'm like, we'll pay you. Like, you pay me. Okay, sure, cool. Pay me for it. Right. And that was kind of how I started my first official hustle into business. But actually, as a child, I was always doing business, right? There was if I saw a need somewhere, the church we were going to then, back in Nigeria, was far away from town, so there were no food or drink. So I started. I don't cook, so nobody should come to my house looking for food. Okay, go somewhere else. But I'll find friends who could cook and friends who could make drinks, and I would get them to do it and I will sell it. So I was always selling something, right? When I started working in a bank, we were always looking for suits, to wear. And I traveled, a friend of mine traveled. So we'll travel, we'll buy the suits, buy gold and buy the earring and come and sell it to everyone. So I was always doing something on the side. I was always like selling something. If there was a need, I was going to fill it, right? Find a way to fill it. So, that's kind of what got me into the current business I was in. And then at that time, as we're leaving UK too, we got into so much debt because obviously I wasn't working anymore. I was starting this business. My husband lost his job. So we got into so much debt, and the banks did not support us at all. We went to them saying, hey, look, can we restructure our debt? I said, no. We're not going to help you until you can no longer pay your bills. So they would rather we be unable to pay our bills than step in and help us when we needed help. And then we were paying them for this insurance when we then needed it, the insurance didn't show up. So I was so mad, right? And then by the time we came to Canada, I was like, I didn't want to work for a bank. Banks don't help people. And then I found the company I work for, and they were like, they help people financially. Like, you help them get out of debt? They're like, yes. I'm like, guys, the other guys I'm looking for, right? And, they provided insurance that worked, and was simple. It was simple, it worked, it didn't lie. And I was like, you know what? I want to help people this way. It's a passion of mine. So that was it for me. Long version of a short story.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I know I've known you for 7 years now, but I didn't even know that, the story of the miscarriage. So thank you for sharing that. I don't believe in coincidences. Someone probably needs to hear that. So, and just be encouraged. So whatever, whoever that might be for, please grab it. All right, and thank you so much for sharing. You mentioned a number of things, not wanting to work for people with the experience you had, people, having that strong control over your time, and I know that that is a very big thing for a lot of people, and they just, in a very not calculated way tell people go and be your own boss, but they don't tell them how to go and be their own boss. you know. So I'm glad that we're getting to hear some of the backstory to that. So there's context, to where that is coming from, and also just that piece of helping people. And I'm hoping that we're starting to see where their passion starts to translate for them. Because for IBK, for instance, it started off with looking at pictures, right? And liking to see pictures. And I can imagine if you've seen most of the things that she's done before. I know there are times that I've been on her page a couple times before, and I'm just scrolling through some of those decorations, and I'm like, wow, this is nice. Wow, this is good, And and I'm sure somewhere at the back of her mind, it's probably just that idea of seeing someone satisfied with the picture that she creates for them out of just a vision and a concept in their mind, and birth that to life, and how that starts to translate into a business. And same with Dunni, I love helping people. She mentioned that before, and we're starting to see how that helping people translates. For some people, it might be, I love helping people. I love taking the stress of, having them enjoy good food by being the ones to cook it. I like to take that stress off of them. I know they want to eat good food, but they don't want to go through the stress of cooking the food. And so that's your way to help people. I love to help people. I hate seeing people stuck in a place. I hate seeing people suffer for their careers. I hate seeing them suffer just generally in life. And so you're starting to see how you're asking yourself a question of, how do I love helping people? Or what do I love to do? How is that translating as I'm hearing all of these stories? So thank you so much for sharing, Sonia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just want to digress a bit. I'm Dunni, I love you so much. I mean, Dunni and I met about a year ago. And again, we met online. And, I'm in Toronto, Dunni's in Saskatchewan, but you know how the stars align. When we started talking, I had a relative who wasn't well in living in Saskatchewan. I was going to visit her. And so I told Dunni that I was going to be out in Saskatchewan, like in a couple of weeks. And as it turns out, they lived in Warman, which is exactly where Dunni lived. I mean, it was just like this, it was uncanny. But anyway, so I want to digress a bit because, finding your niche. I remember my mom, and I don't know about you guys, but my mother was probably one of the wisest persons I will ever meet. And we probably all have the similar mothers. We don't realize that until much later on in life. But my mother used to always say to me, and she never pushed me into a career. She never suggested I go into anything. She just said, find something that you love. And if you can make money at it, it will never be a job. So with that, I went into the travel business. My first, business was in the travel business because I wanted to travel. I was one of those little kids that always wanted to know why people live differently, why people look different, and why, how lives are so different. So I wanted to travel. So I went into the travel business and loved it. I've got so much joy out of it. And, the travel business has its challenges and at some point I knew that I wanted to transition to something that wasn't going to take up so much of my time because I was, as Anita said, I was raising 3 boys on my own and working very, very, very long hours. Thank goodness I did have my mother close by to help me. I couldn't have done it without her. And I miss her every day. Anyway, so I continued in the travel business and I was introduced to, Arbonne, the company that I'm with now. And, a strong passion, I started using these products. People started noticing a difference in my looks, my health. I was able to, improve my cholesterol. I was able to lose weight. I had more energy. And I thought, what, I'm going to use these products anyway. So, and then I started to delve into the business. I looked at this as a business. I decided this time around I was going to do my due diligence and actually look into an industry or a company that was on the upswing. And I did. It's e-commerce. E-commerce. When I looked at this with a business mind, because when you're starting a business, you have to keep that business mind. First and foremost, we can start all kinds of businesses, but if there's no need for it, you're not going to make a lot of money at it. So I looked at e-commerce, which is a $4.8 trillion industry. I looked at health and wellness, which is a $4.4 trillion industry and growing. And I thought, okay, this is something that is on the upswing. We're in the 21st century. This is going to keep growing. So that was my first inkling that maybe I can add this into my life as a business. And then I looked to see what the products and what the business could offer people. And you know what? You see a lot of people suffering, whether it's, they don't have enough money, whether they don't have health, whether they have dreams and goals and, life gets in the way and they're working just to keep food on the table or working to just, keep everybody, in the comfort of a lifestyle that they want to. So I saw a need to help people. I saw the need to help people, in their health and in their wealth. Today, I'm so grateful. I love these products. I'll speak them out to the world because, we need clean, green, personal care products, because, as I said, our health is so, so important. The other thing that I found why this was my niche was I found a diverse community of people that support me. And that's the cool thing about being an entrepreneur. I have a network of really, really strong, supportive, women and men who are there to help me. This is a business, I like to say, I'm in business for myself, but not by myself. And that's a very different avenue to go. When you start your own business, normally it's you and maybe some staff members, but ultimately, you've got nobody to bounce ideas off of or decide where to spend your marketing money. When you have that handed to you, it makes it so much easier to enjoy the business and do very, very well at this business.
Wow, awesome. Thank you so much, Sonia. Thank you. That is powerful and beautiful. And yes, we all love Dunni too. Thank you so much. And yes, the things that our mothers tell us, we should all listen to our mothers, quite frankly, because
we should.
No matter how they like to dish it out to us, the truth is we all get to that moment, especially when you become a mother of your own, you start to think back on all the things that you thought you hated about your mother, and those are the things you're most grateful for. So thank you for sharing. I like those kind of very historical context to things like this. Find what you love doing, and if you make money out of it, it will never feel like work. It'll be, just living life and, making some money on the side out of living life. And that is so true. And that's really what we're trying to really build on here. And just with everything that all three of you have shared, I'm starting to see a pattern that I just want to share with the house. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. If I is watching that, she'll let us know or raise your hand. So does anybody have any questions so far? Just let us know, please. All right. But as we look for, questions to come in, one of the things that I want to just, I've been making notes here that I just want to highlight that I think I really hear resonating through the stories. And even as I think about how for me I got into business too, I put here hashtag you're a business person. I don't know who here, you've been like me, you always make this comment. I'm not so much of a business person. I'm not really a business kind of person. The truth is, I don't know who told you what kind of person you are. All right. But maybe for some of us, really, it's that we need to start to shift that mindset. Sonia, you said something, keep a business mind. I really, really, really love that. Because I personally, I had to get to a point where I made decisions, put certain structures that, I would have to take off my, oh, this is just a passion project versus this is now a business, mindset. And there are times that and avenues that I can have to do some of those additional passion stuff. But when it comes to the business is the business. And I have to learn to start to think like a business person, especially as women, we tend to be so giving and so, just wanting to just put ourselves out there and pour into other people that we forget that we're running a business, and we're nothing short of doing charity work. So a couple things that I want to say here is number one, test the waters. As we begin to see in each of these stories, is that they all tested the water in one form or the other. For IBK, for Adeola, sorry, I call IBK as well. For Adeola, it was that her sister's wedding was the water that she tested. So test the waters. For Dunni, it was all those churches she was doing those things for free. Volunteering. It can be an opportunity to build the skill that you'll need for your business. You might even be doing it for free. For the longest time, I coached people, helped with their, careers, resumes, cover letters, and all that for free. For as long as I've actually started this as a business just late last year, And so for the longest time over the last 6 years, and quite frankly, even as far back as I've been in my adult life, quite honestly, I've been doing this for free. And so really, those were moments that we're testing the waters. You're testing your skills, you're testing your capacity, so really find opportunities to test the waters. I know lots of people today who, I've been a recipient of Adeola's free decor before. My son's naming ceremony, I didn't want to do it. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of people who tested the waters, and it was more than test because they did so excellently well, but those were moments that they were testing the waters. Number two, do not be afraid to get paid. Boy, I struggled personally with this one. quite honestly, I'm still struggling. Sonia is laughing so hard. Dunni is smiling. So I can tell that they can relate. Even Angela is nodding her head like, yep. I struggled to get paid. For me, it felt like, oh, why would I take money from this person? Oh, no, I'm just doing this to help people. It's almost as if it takes away from the helping people if you choose to get paid. It doesn't. As a matter of fact, one time I was struggling with maybe I should just lower my pricing. And then I talked to someone because sometimes I run free strategy sessions. And as I was talking to the person, and I've heard that from so many people, the person shared about how they had spent about $2,000 or $3,000 for a program and got nothing out of it. And here I was charging less than just a third of that same amount, and I know what I could offer. And the comment she made was, even in this free session, I've had much more than I had in a $3,000 worth course. And that just hit me to say, what I have is valuable. Find the value in what you do, because the truth is, it really is valuable. It might start off as a passion. It might start off with looking at cat videos or looking at pictures, or it might start off as, I just don't like it when people get stuck in this or that. But the truth is, when the opportunity to get paid comes in, please don't say no. Stop saying no. If you're going to have that business mindset, then the business mindset means that there is exchange. Someone has to exchange something for your value. If not, people might even take advantage. I've been there. If you follow my Instagram, you'll see the story I put out yesterday. I kid you not. I'm waiting for someone to review their resume, and I tell my kids, oh, sorry, I have to reschedule with you guys to take you to the park. She doesn't show, and I call her to say, hey, we're supposed to do, oh, sorry, I forgot. I took my kids to the park. Oh my God. People will continue to take advantage. So please keep that business mindset and don't be afraid to get paid. As women, it is a struggle, and I know it. Even in careers, when we're negotiating salaries, a woman will go in and ask for always less than what she originally intended to go in for. And research backs this up, right? So do your research, which is the other thing currently. Do your research. Learn the market you're going into. Sonia talked about how she looked at the health and wellness industry. She looked at the e-commerce industry, right? And she looked at the trends. What are the trends saying? Is there really an opportunity, or is that opportunity just in your head? Because if it isn't, or if it's just in your head, the question then becomes, what can I change? What can I tweak? All right. So please do your research, learn the trends, and make sure that that business can stand the test of time, or find ways to do it that is efficient enough for you as an individual. So you're not stuck in the place where you're constantly having to sacrifice family or health or your own wellness for the business. And then tie it into your passion. All right. So at the end of the day, one thing that we keep hearing in all of this is each of these ladies actually are doing things that still is at the core of it is still that passion that they have. I want to help people. I love insurance. I love the planet. I made my decision to work with this company over this company because they care about people. I hate the fact that people will charge so much for decor and then not deliver. You begin to hear that it still comes back to that passion. And then we can all take a clue and learn from Sonia's mom's wisdom. Find and do what you're passionate about and get paid. That's just the icing on the cake. All right. And so, and then the other thing is find a strong, supportive community. Sonia talked about being in business for yourself, but not by yourself. This is a very big one because there are times that I want to make some business decisions. I have people who I will sit with, we'll talk about ideas, they'll share their ideas and thoughts with me on businesses that they do. And I mean, this one, it has to be who you trust, not someone who would, go take what you want to do and try to outsmart you on things. Okay, so please, let's be very mindful. There's always that someone, that you can find. But when you do find them, there's a saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. It is so true. Because sustainability in the long run, there are times you just want to throw it all out and be like, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. Those are the people that will remind you of why you started to begin with. They would, have conversations with you that would help you be re-inspired. They would have conversations with you that would be the light bulb to say, hey, here's what you can do. I tried this before and it worked. Why don't you try that? So thank you so much, ladies. Like this is it's so much already, and we still have some questions that I want to ask. Does anybody have any questions so far? Maybe you want to raise your hand and ask your question before we move forward here. I don't see any questions in the chat so far. It's a quiet house. Anybody? No questions so far? Okay. Awesome. All right. So we're going to go forward then. So I just want to ask, one thing I think I hear from all of you and I've seen is that there was the 8 to 5. It was there. It wasn't just oh, I want to start a business, pack up, your laptop, hand it in and just move on with your life, type of situation. So how were you able to balance, and even not just even with an 8 to 5, but just overall, how are you able to balance the work that you do in your business with the work that you do or were doing when you were working, and just put it all together, and balance it all up? And even with family, everybody here has a family, and so there's demands on that as well. And for some of us that might even be doing other things, additional volunteer work at our church or with organizations. Sonia, you even have work that you do on a whole different time zone, but how do you put all of that together? And we'll start with you this time.
Me? Okay.
Yes, you.
Yes, I started this business alongside, not even 8 to 5 job, probably an 8 to 7, 9, 10 o'clock a job sometimes. But you know what? I think when it comes right down to it, it has to be a desire to have more. You can be working and at the end of the month, you've got more month than money. You have dreams. I mean, we, even as little children, we have dreams and desires. I mean, sometimes a little girl wants to be a princess. Sometimes she wants to be an astronaut. Sometimes she just wants to be, really strong and have a family and be able to do the things that a lot of people just don't have the time, and they end up being dreams, or they end up just gathering dust on a shelf because they don't get around to it. So, you know what, in this job, especially this business, the biggest reason somebody says no is because they don't have enough time or money. And those are probably the two reasons why you should start a side business. Because you know what, if you don't have the time and money now, in 5 years, you're still not going to have the time or money, and you're going to be 5 years older and still not realizing your dreams. So you know what, there's always time. You have to chunk your time. You have to schedule time to work on this. And this has to be, your side business has to be something that is important to you. It has to be as important to you as your job. It has to be as important to you, for the time being, even your family, because you're doing this for your family. So you know what, chunking your time, giving up Netflix, giving up those things that you do, sometimes for yourself, because in the end, it's all going to work out. If you do apply yourself and give yourself a little bit of time to do these extra things, to build this business, make this a business successful, just think of where you're going to be. And on the other end, like in 5 years, if you started a business now and in 5 years, you could, triple or quadruple your income, think of where you would be.
Wow.
Oh, everybody's moved around on the screen. There you are.
Yeah. That is great. Thank you so much. I really love what you said. Two big reasons people say no is time and money. And those are the two big reasons why you should eventually get into, developing additional income for yourself. Wow. Because 5 years from now, really, you'll be 5 years older and still have nothing. And time and money would always continue to be a problem. So true. Really true. Thank you so much for sharing, Sonia. Adeola.
Yes. So I like that, time and money. For me, it's weird. So I went into business because I felt that I needed something to get me busy, which is weird. I really wanted to be busy, and I was like, I just don't like this 8 to 5 work. I want to do something else that would just get me busy. I had some things that was really bothering my mind, and I just wanted something to get me engaged. So I felt, instead of thinking and mulling over some issues, I might as well get busy. So that was what led me to getting busy. And Thank God, like the business turned out to profit, so that's good. Balancing after a while, of course, after getting busy for a long time, then it was now trying to balance everything. What I would recommend for people is know your limits. There are so many people that are going to go into business and they're just going to go, oh, now people like what I do, so I'm just going to go full time. I'm going to go all in. I didn't start out all in. I can turn down businesses. I can say I am available on this day. I can say no. I can say yes, right? So I didn't go all in into it. So I do this on a part-time basis. I still have my full-time work, and I just plan my calendar on that. So I don't go all in right away. So what I say is, with respect to balance, make sure that you have time for things that are important in your life. Have time for family. Have time for yourself, and don't take more than you can chew. Right. So that's one of the things that I've learned so far. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Know your limits. Earlier on, Dunni talked about, she didn't like the fact that someone else controlled or would be the one to tell you when you deserve to go on a break and things like that. And truth is that when you know your limits and you're doing business, one of the beautiful things is that you also reserve the right to say, no, I don't want to take this client. I personally have turned down clients before. If I feel like this client is only just going to waste my time, or if I feel like they don't look like they're ready to put in the work, or if I feel like, you know what, I'd rather reserve this time for family and friends, then I can control that. I might not control that with my 8 to 5, except I'm taking vacation time, but I can control that within the confines of a business that I do, which also tells me that you can also control how much income you make from it too. 8 to 5, if they tell you your income is 100K per annum, it is 100K per annum, and you may or may not have room to increase that. But with your business, there's the room to increase it. There's the room to increase number of clients you have, control all of that. So that's very great. Thank you so much. But knowing your limits as a way of managing your time and making the time for what's important. Awesome. Thank you. Dunni, how you have been balancing or balanced, having everything you do, with owning a business.
Wow, first question is, what is balance? People are always trying to look for balance. What is balance? Balance is what it is at that time. I think for me, right, and Adeola said something really critically important. You've got to, first of all, determine what is important to you, right? Are you building your life around your business or business around life, right? Are you building your life around your family, your business around family, right? So you balance is for you, whatever it is, right? What Adeola calls balance or what Sonia calls balance may not be what I call balance, right? Because our phases in life or our desires or our goals are different. So you must find balance for yourself and be satisfied with it, right? Because sometimes we create our balance and we look at somebody else, like, oh, why is Anita having this? No, you're not Anita. You sit down and figure out what is important for you. Identify what are all those areas, which is kind of what I do. I run my own business. I have family. As we're having this show, my 3-year-old was throwing a tantrum right here, right? And balance was at that moment in time, I had to handle the tantrum while still making sure this was going on. And I paused you guys for a moment, found him what he wanted, and this is going on. That's balance, right? You figure out what is important in that moment in time. Handling this 3-year-old was important. And then after I'd handled him, you guys are important again. So it's kind of like kids on that seesaw. Somebody goes up and the other one has to go down, and eventually someone goes down, right? So for me, that's what balance is. I figured out at the beginning when I started my financial services business, I was working as an accountant. And like I said, I really didn't want to work for anyone because, bad experience. I didn't want to boss anymore. So I kind of juggled them both. I did my accounting job in the morning and my financial services business in the evening and at weekends. And eventually so Adeola kind of said she didn't take the big leap. I took the big leap. I was like, done. I'm not working for nobody. And I'm taking the leap, hold my life in my hands, run for it, and we'll ask questions later. Right? So and I could do that because I saw that there was a need. I saw that people needed what I could do. I saw that I was brokeraging out with a great company like Sonia was talking about earlier, that had great backup plan. And if I did it, it would truly allow me the balance I was looking for. Because now I could control my time. I could take off on holiday and ask nobody for permission. I do music. I could go on tour. I went on tour for my album 2-3 years ago. I asked nobody for permission. I took 3 months off, right? And my business didn't die because I had balance. I was in control of that balance, right? I'm a holiday business is still going on. So literally I said, you must find balance for you and where you are. Identify the things that are important to you and structure. I live on a calendar. My husband always jokes he has to schedule himself into my calendar. If not, he ain't getting no time from me, right? So so have a schedule. I schedule those things that are important to you. That's kind of how I create balance. Thank you.
So I laughed so hard at the calendar one because yeah, I hear that a lot too.
You gotta have one if you're juggling stuff, man.
There's a
You
lot
gotta
of
have
calendar
one.
synchronization happening where it's like, you didn't send me this one. I could have booked something and then you get upset that anyway. But no, you raise a very valid point. Find what balance is to you. That is so important. And I think, I don't know if it's here now, we talked about, or maybe it was on my coaching side where one of the trainings that I had one time talked about, finding that balance. I think we talked about it here too. And really for me, it's just living from your core, figure out what's the most important one to you and then build everything else around that so that you're in control of the most important thing. Does anybody have any questions so far? Um, yeah, and find your balance and be
I see
satisfied with
there's a
it.
hand raised actually.
Okay, all right, please.
Allow me
I
to
can't find the
listen.
hand, so tell me who it is.
Olamide Adegogo. She's raising her
Okay,
hand, but I think there's a question there.
okay.
Yes, good morning. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
I have
afternoon,
a question,
Okay.
and I think it's about financing and stuff. So I'll be asking the question about, do you encourage a business owner to, go to the bank and borrow like a lump sum of money to start, buying and selling?
Okay. Awesome. So the question is if they would advise a business owner to go to the bank and loan money to do buying and selling. That's the question, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right. So who wants to take that?
I think I'm just going to start with a little bit of my own experience and then go from there. But I feel like it's going to be different for everyone. So when I started my business, I lost like $10,000, like bam, just lost it. And that's because I kept on buying stuff. And at the end of the day, all those stuff were, yeah. But anyways, that's a little peculiar also to my kind of business. Event decor, things go in and out of vogue. So you have to be very, very, very careful what you're buying. So, but anyways, I lost $10,000 and my husband is like, when is this charity work going to stop? When are we going to? And I'm like, don't worry, I'll pay back. To God be the glory, paid up. Thank God. And since then, I decided Events by Epi, you have to run on your own. If you're going to buy anything, Events by Epi, you have to buy it yourself. Adeola is not going to support you. Events by Epi, you have to support yourself. If you want to buy anything, you must make your money yourself. So that was how it started. So from what I make, then I'm able to increase my inventory, was what I started doing. And since then, I didn't have to borrow. That being said, if there is a particular event that is going to come my way, and I know that this inventory I'm about to buy is going to bring in even more income, yes, I can go to the bank and say, yes, I want to get this loan. It's going to be towards this particular project. and I know that in this so amount of time, I'm going to be able to make that money back. It's not going to break the bank. Yes, Events by Epic can go and do that, and get that loan and then be able to use it and then pay it back. So I would say start from a place where your business can actually generate something. If your business cannot even pay your phone bill, why are we getting loan, right? Because it will only be, so I would say build it to a place where you can actually say yes first and then go from there. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. I get where you're coming from. And, my very first business that I started many, many years ago, I had to borrow $50,000 to start it, just to open my office, to have, everything that I wasn't selling a product, I was selling travel, but I had to set myself up. And when I looked at this business that I'm in today, one of the things I didn't want to do, I didn't want to have to go out and borrow a lot of money or spend any of my own money, because businesses, less than 20% of businesses actually survive after 2 years. If you're passionate about it, go for it. But what I liked about my business was it was risk-free. I joined a company that already had the products. We had the marketing, we had the distribution, we had all the training. All I had to do was plug in and follow their lead. That's why I picked this business that I'm in today, because of that. It was risk-free.
Can I also help,
yes, please.
Mr.
Yes,
Olamide?
absolutely.
I think it's not excuse me, the answer to that question is not black and white, like you can see from both answers. I think it depends on two things. What service or what products are you trying to sell, right? Two, what market are you selling it in? What kind of research have you done in that market? Is there a ready market available? What brand are you selling, right? If it's something you're selling, because you mentioned buying things to sell, what brand are they selling? Is it a brand that is known? Is it a new brand to the market? Does it answer a need? And I think most importantly is, what is the rate percentage of the financing you're going to go get from a bank? Now, I worked in banking before. One of my jobs was to give loans to business owners to start a business. And many times the interest rate at the bank, I sat down there knowing that business owner could never pay back that loan because the interest rate was so high. Or if they could pay back, they would never make profit from whatever business they were doing. So I think the interest rate you are paying on that loan you are thinking of getting is so critical. And the requirements around paying it is also critical. So the answer is not a yes and a no. Like Sonia said, there's some businesses, for you to get started, you need to go borrow some money to get started, right? If you're say starting I had a client who was starting buying and selling cars. So he kind of started small, but he wanted to have a big car lot. So some of it required financing, right? So sometimes you may not have to borrow from a bank. You borrowed from friends and created a payment plan for them. Some people borrow from a bank. Check the rate that you're borrowing from. Check that you have a market. Check that your plan is ready. If you're going to go borrow from a bank, you must dot your I's and cross your T's. It can't be a wish, right? Oh, it's a good idea. No. It's got to be an idea that is well thought out. If not, loans from bank could totally take you out. Right. So that's just, but if you've done all those things, you can borrow from a bank and structure it properly, and it will elevate your business. It's called leveraging. It works, but it must be done properly and also at the right time for your business for it to work. Sorry, long answer to a short question.
No, those are all good. And if I'll just maybe even recap some of the things that I've heard from all three of you is that know what your ratio is. Ratio of what you're borrowing to interest rates to what you're potentially going to get out of it. Do your research and ensure that the market is actually there for what you want to sell. And then 3 is that if your business, try to make some income before you're looking to borrow. Like Adeola said, if your business can't even as much as pay the most basic need, then chances are that you're not going to make enough to pay off whatever loan you're trying to get. And one thing I think also seems to jump at me from that is separating the business from the individual. All right. When you've separated, and I think from what Adeola was saying, that's one thing I really got is that you separate the business from what, from the individual. Like we're saying that Adeola is not going to give Epi by Events money to run, anything anymore. Epi by Events, Events by Epi, sorry. Events by Epi would have to, make the money for itself and be able to run with it. And then to Sonia's point is even just, and maybe for someone who's looking to go into a business, is ask yourself if there's opportunity to get into a risk-free business. Some people are very risk averse, and so if you're that kind of person, maybe you should also be looking at risk-free uh, businesses to plug yourself into, as opposed to starting something brand new. So the answer really will depend on where you're at with your business. If you first all your T's and dotted all your I's, if you understand and you're absolutely sure that there's a market that you're going to be selling to and you've done the research there. And I don't know, I hope that answers the question for you, Lamide. Did that answer your question?
I think Fatima has a question.
Yes,
Yeah, there's
sorry.
another question.
All right, yeah, it's fine. All right, go ahead, Fatima.
And
Yeah,
then
so
Adeola.
my question is there really a risk-free business? Because if there is, I would love to go in it. And I can categorically say that the reason I pull out of my business, not pull out, I put a pause, is because of the risk. So is there really a risk-free business?
Great question. I will defer to Sonia. She used the term. Maybe we should even start by defining what exactly is risk-free.
Risk-free would be something that you don't have to invest a lot of money in, and that if it didn't succeed, you're not going to be out of pocket. You're not going to have borrowed money. That being said, I mean, what this business is, I mean, if I stop doing this business tomorrow, if I just stop doing this business tomorrow, it's not like I have a whole bunch of money to pay back. I mean, it's I'm using personal care products that I would use anyway. I mean, we all use personal care. You wash your hair, you might use skincare, you use sunscreen, you use body wash, you use deodorant. These are all products that you're already buying. When I buy from my company, it's like, okay, fine, I am spending money to do this business, but I would have been buying them from the grocery store, from Walmart, or from Shoppers Drug Mart. I'm just buying them from my own store. So that's not a risk. I mean, once you start the business, yes, you have to work it. I mean, I can't just start this business and open up and say, okay, people, I'm in business and expect people to come flocking to me. I have to go out there and work it. But ultimately, as I said, if I stop doing this business tomorrow, I might, my income might drop, but I mean, it's not like I'm going to be out of pocket of money that I had invested in it to begin with.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you,
awesome.
Sonia. Sorry, I'm going to sugar
Go ahead.
that, but that kind of breaks the business rule kind of for me. Like there's this thing about rules, like rules in business, like this persistence, this consistency. Like even if there's risk, even if you're not selling or this thing is not going as you wish, you should still move ahead. You should still go. So what do you have to say about that, Sonia?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
So there's this rule in business, like you have to keep moving, even if, because initially you talked about risk-free business.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, for example, that, okay, no, it's not an example, it's a rule that every business has its own ups and downs. And in a situation whereby you're not really selling as you should, or you're not getting the returns as you should you still go on or just drop the business like, oh, this is a risk-free business? I don't know how to put it. I don't even know
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Sonia, can I help you also?
Yeah, sure. No, I was just going to say, I guess the risk is not making any money, but if you're not working it, you're not going to be making any money. The unique thing about this business is, as I said, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. You have a lifeline, you have mentors, you have people who will help you. If you do run across a roadblock, or you run across a situation that, is causing you not to, there's always somebody there to help you through that. Dunni, pass that on to you.
And if I recap Fatima's question, it was, there's a rule to be, persistent, determined. What if you're doing this and it isn't working? Since it's risk-free, should I just up and leave and stop? I think it begs the first question: why were you there in the first instance, right? Why did you get into that business? Not meaning to be harsh, but actually meaning to be real, because that was my journey, right? When I started my financial services business, at the beginning, it was tough, right? The first year, I only made 6,000. Who would stay there? Most people would have upped and gone. Why? What is that? Crap, rubbish, nonsense, right? The next year, I think I doubled that or triple that. Who would still stay with that, right? Everybody else making 50,000, 100,000 at their job, and you're in business for yourself, right? Most people would have quit. Many times I quit in my own head, right? But each time, like Sonia was talking about, when you're in business, you must have support systems, right? I had a friend start a restaurant, and I told her I will be your support system, because I know in business you will have challenging times, right? And I said, the day you feel like quitting, come and have a talk with me. I will be there for you, because you will want to quit every day, every time, until you really understand how it works and you can truly make money. I wanted to quit so many times, right? Sometimes I was driving to Anita's place. Anita, I felt like quitting. I didn't want to be there, right? But I had to keep remembering, why am I here, right? Why did I choose to start this business? Look, the reality is people think of business with a job mindset. A job is where you go to and they promise you a salary, and they said they'll be there for you and they'll pay you that salary no matter what. A business, no one promises you anything. You got to get up and do it, right? And because nobody promised you anything, for many people, even in business like Sonia was talking about, businesses where you have that kind of support, sometimes the first 2-3 years, everything you touch turns to dust, not gold, right? Literally everything you touch turns to dust. But you must find out why you're there. Why you are there will give you the persistence to keep going, right? If you don't know why you're there, you quit, you pack up shop, right? It took me 5 years to truly get my business to the income that I kind of wanted to, that kind of made sense. 5 years. Many people quit and walked away, but I knew why I was there. I was there to serve people. I loved what I did. What we did was right. And I knew God was with me, right? Most of you I know are Christians from church. You've got to know God wants you successful, because sometimes that's why we quit. We're like, it's not working. Maybe God doesn't want me to be there. Stop. He wants you successful, but it requires a fight sometimes. It requires you pushing yourself an extra mile, doing a little bit more. Nobody wants to sacrifice. We want it to be easy. No, it's not going to be easy, right, Sonia? Sometimes you've got to sacrifice stuff to get what you want. But whatever you sacrifice, you're going to make it back. Eventually, it's going to come back to you, right? So sorry, again, long answer.
Again, mindset is so important. Yes, and exactly. I mean, I don't think there's many businesses today that you can open up your store or open up your business and you're making what you want to make tomorrow. I mean, how many businesses? My very first business lost money for 3 years. I mean, as you build your clientele and you build your bank account, it's until that happens. I mean, so that's what I mean by, but I still had to keep paying my staff. I had to pay my rent. I had to pay all my expenses. And, I mean, eventually, yes, we started, with that 1 year where we actually posted a profit, it was like, yippee, it wasn't a big one, but you have to. I guess, what I'm referring to risk-free is, if I shut my business down tomorrow, if I said, okay, fine, this isn't working, I'm shutting it down, I'm not out of pocket. you know, but again, you know, it's, you know, what you've got inside of you, it's how you feel, you know, your mindset, and, you know, of this kind of business. If you do the training, if you take on a good coach, you know, I mean, this business is definitely, can definitely provide you with, you know, I mean, again, maybe you want an extra $500 a month, you know, maybe you want an extra $10,000 a month, whatever it is that you want, and you put the effort in. It is entirely possible. I mean, many people in my industry are making, you know, more money than any of us will ever see in a lifetime. And, you know, I mean, we all started in the same place, but it didn't require me to put out, you know, 10 or 20 or $30,000 to start this kind of business.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
Fatima, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Okay, awesome. And if I even just will quickly add to that, and I mean, I've been in that place where even just last month I was still asking my husband, like, I'm thinking I should just stop doing this business. Maybe it's not working for me, you know. So I get it's really nice to hear sometimes that you're not alone when you're thinking those thoughts. It helps. But also going back to that question of why. And even with the risk free piece that I want to mention, and I'll give two quick examples with two streams of income that I and family have. One is with my coaching business, for instance, right? If I choose to end this business today, when I got in, one question I asked myself is, what's my worst case scenario? And one question I also ask to just always help me find the most efficient way of doing things is, uh, or to reduce the risk is what is the most efficient way to still get this done for the least cost? You know, and as I ask that question, I'm currently transitioning my website from a previous hoster to a new hoster, right? And it is more the new host site is more aligned to my values. It's a business owned by a woman, owned by an African, and it's a small business in itself that is also coming up. And so there's that additional support. It's cheaper for me. I can have a little more than, you know, business relationship and have that personal relationship with my site host as well. And it is it's pretty much the same, right? And so in asking that question, I have cut my costs, my operating costs, you know, by almost 80 to 90% actually, which is really huge. You know, what I pay in a month is what I'm paying in a whole year now. You know, and so that's one example is that I'm reducing the risk. As you go along, you start to ask the questions of how you reduce your risk, such that if I choose to stop doing that business today, the worst case is that I'll lose my host, my website name. Maybe I will, you know, there's really I'm not going to have any debts that I'm walking away from this from. That's one example. So the risk there is very minimal. That's it. On the other hand, it's a real estate business. Now, if we lose money on that, which has happened, you know, if we do lose money on that, which has happened, we sat down and asked ourselves, what's the worst case scenario that can happen here? The worst case scenario is that, you know, we have to sell the house, take our losses, and move on with our lives, right? Now, but the goal is to not let ourselves get to the point where by the time we're done with that, we have like $100,000 debt on our hands that we have to now go and deal with. You know, and so even just asking those questions as you go along in your business. The beauty about businesses like, you know, e-commerce that Sonia is into, or even what Dunni is into, is that there are already larger corporations that take on that risk for you. All right. As opposed to if you had to go and do something brand new. And that's where someone like Adeola had to, you know, she had to initially do that. She had to take on that risk herself, you know, and that's how she lost that money. Or when she lost that money, it became a thing of, okay, I'm going to keep the business separate from the individual so that it's not Adeola losing money, it's events by Epi losing money. And even in that, she's asking the question of how do I make sure that per time I'm reducing this risk? So I don't know if that helps to add more light to your question. And it might mean sometimes, yes, that you might have to change not the business, but how you're operating the business. So that's something to also really think about and finding the support that you need. I know places like West, they help women entrepreneurs of Saskatchewan. I know they help with, you know, looking at a business plan for you, developing the business plan, showing you the ropes of how to go about that. And if you're looking for a template that would also help you answer some of those questions, I actually have one I'm more than happy to share with anyone who needs it. Okay, I see hands up. Bola Jenny, I'll go with you first because I think yours was up first, and then Precious, you can go.
Okay. Hi, Anita. Thank you. Thank you for organizing an event like this. It's a really good one. I can relate actually with what a lot of people have said this afternoon. And my most relatable one is Adeola with the event by Epi, because I have an event business also. And I tried it for 2 years and it's still like a charitable organization. So I stopped. I said, no, this is done. I've done, this is enough using my money to just do things for people. It's good. I like it. And like everyone has mentioned, we're all children of God. It is very good to be blessed, to reach out to people and bless. You get blessings in return, but there's only so much of that I can do. But this business still keeps coming back to me. Every time people will tell me, I want you to run this event, I'll send them to somebody else. No, I'm not doing it. They go to somebody else. Those people get paid. I tell these people what to do. I'm still part of the people helping the people that will get paid. But for me, it's just so difficult. I can't tell people this is how much you pay. Once I tell them, they'll say, oh, auntie, I don't have this. I can't pay that much. I'll say, don't worry, we'll just do it. So I really need help. I think one of the people I need to go back to is somebody like Adeola, just to get some idea. And you too, Anita, just what you said like 2 minutes ago is what I need, where to actually find how to start a business. So this charity will not now send me into debt, right? So my second question also is, I don't know if anybody else has seen this. There's this YouTube video that goes around, especially the people I see there, they're Nigerians. They'll say, come and do this business, join us, all these things. And you don't know what they are doing. Every time I see it, I just shut that thing down. That I don't want to hear what you're doing, that you won't even give us an hint and you want me to come to you. But I didn't join you guys on time. I think it's similar to what Sonia is doing. I don't know if this meeting will allow, if we can reach out to her and ask more questions about this our own e-commerce business that she's saying. Anyone here, if you know the business that this majority of Nigerian people are doing, and say, come and join this black business that cannot be explained in their YouTube thing until you come to them, please chip in whatever you know on it, so you can help us here. So yeah, that's my contribution and question also.
Awesome. Yeah. So before anybody answers, let me even just quickly say that yes, absolutely. Okay, I didn't take their permission first, but I want to believe that Dunni, Sonia, Adeola, people can reach out if they have questions for you pertaining to your specific business that you do. There might be someone here who might be interested in doing the kind of business you do, so it'd be nice to just reach out. There'll be opportunity for them to share their details.
And from what we have
Should we put our information in the chat?
Yes, please go ahead.
Can you hear me, Anita?
And I'll share them in the email.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, can you hear me, Anita? I said, yeah, from what we've learned today about source of income. So now it's about business consulting. So, you pay a fee and then.
Don't be afraid to get paid.
Yeah. I'm sure Auntie will be okay to pay me, as for this consulting. Just joking.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there'll be opportunity.
Yes, so I'll pay free. Nobody should do charity like me. It's not good.
And I should also say that one of the things that I'm expecting that Dunni would also share is actually where I met Sonia, and that's her personal. That's the firm that she started, Leading Ladies Network Canada. Or the guys, was it Canada Network? Close enough.
Close enough.
Close enough. Okay, what is it? Leading Ladies
can network.
Can't network. Okay. Okay. Why did I always thought that can was short for Canada. Why did I think that?
Actually, well, it was short for Canada. But eventually, we had people from UK and everywhere, so we just thought it can
Right.
networks.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you for sharing, Sana. So yeah, so leading ladies can network. It's one place where ladies just come and all talk about the business. So Sonia talks about having a very supportive community. One thing that Kuza Beauty, your baby, is my very good friend, sister. Today's her birthday. And she and I talk a lot about business. We bounce ideas off occasionally. I might talk to Lars. The life some of us know these people. And when we're talking, sometimes one thing we realized was that, I mean, organizations that exist, and I think Dunni and I even talked about this as well too, is that when it comes to diversified platform, a platform that is diversified enough to cater to needs of not just Caucasian women, but all kinds of women, all shades of colors of women. There was not something that seemed to really fully capture that. It's why Ladies Arise in itself exists. It's why Ladies Can Network exists. It's to provide those additional platforms. So yes, she'll share that detail as well. And I encourage you, if you have the time. I've only been to one, and I mean, even just that one that I've been to, I'm very proud of it. But even in just that one, I came out with some connections that has lasted this long. All right. And so please, I'll encourage you to attend if you have the time. It's a great networking opportunity. So if you want to answer the
Can
question.
I respond to her? So she mentioned a couple of things. One, she's gonna go get consultancy services from Adeola, but I and I think so. Please make sure you do. But I think it comes back to and especially when we talk about charity. And I know what we mean is doing our business and you're not just doing it for free and you're not getting anything from it. I and having done that when I first started my accounting business at the beginning, one of the things I found out, it comes down to value. What value do you place in yourself as a person and the skills you deliver, right? I'll take an example. This bottle of water, if you go buy it at Walmart, you maybe buy the whole pack of 24 for $4. Yesterday we were at a theme park here in Florida, and it was sold one bottle for $4.95 in the theme park in the heat, right? So at Walmart, it was only worth something cents because there was so much of it, right? And whoever, what are the theme park value themselves so much, knew you were thirsty from everything they gave you and put the premium on it. So how do you value yourself as a business owner? How do you value yourself as somebody who brings something to the table? Do you value yourself enough to say, look, if I come and set up your event for you, it will be life changing. It will be an event you would never forget. And value yourself enough and the skills you bring to ask for a price for it. At the beginning, you may lose some people will go. But once you put that value on it, the people who need you will come. And even when I started my financial services business too, I was kind of doing charity, looking for people who needed help, but didn't see the value of what I was bringing. Until somebody had to remind me, girl, you are valuable. The skills you bring, the fact that you're just sitting there having that conversation with them is valuable. So for all of us here running whatever kind of business it is, and you kind of feel it's at the charitable level, to move away from there, you must see yourself as valuable. And I'm sure that must have been something Adeola and Sonia had to do to themselves. Realize that the time they bring in their business is valuable. The service they offer to people is valuable. So see value in yourself. And for those online businesses, Nigeria, they do it and they hire you for YouTube. That's not Sonia's business. I can clearly speak to that. Talk to Sonia about her business. What they're doing is not Sonia's business. Sonia's business is legit. Talk to the other people, but talk carefully. But we'll be glad to help you on all the other things.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Sonia, Adeola, do you have anything to add to that? No? Okay. Okay. Sonia, no? Okay.
No.
Awesome. And then that's very great. The value piece is very, very great. And I'll share something that I know it was even a baby that told me this one time. She said, look, um, the truth is that if someone shows up and you tell them what you charge, they have two choices. See the value, pay it, or don't see the value and move. Sometimes it might not even be just that they don't see the value, so maybe they can't afford it. All right. And that's where you now hold the discretion to decide if you want to work with them right where they're at, but still put something on it so that they understand that exchange for value, right? But that's completely up to you at that point. There are times I make that kind of discretionary call in my business, or I might decide to say, okay, no, this is it and this is not it. But the other thing is that one thing I want to also say is that you will be shocked that that same person that says they can't afford it may or may not go somewhere else, pay twice the price, and for far less the value, and it will be hurtful to you if you find that out. So know what you're worth. Decide that, look, I know what I'm offering, I know what I'm giving to you. This is the price. If you can't afford it, that's okay. If people go to, say, Walmart or Winners and they can't afford something, they'll go to dollar store, right? They'll go find the alternative that meets their needs. That is, and for me, one of the things that for me that has even helped me do is, at the very least, it frees up my time. If you say no and I don't get the person in that moment, at least I don't have to now find time to deal with the person, that I can use to maybe spend with my family or take a nap. I mean, I wake up some Saturdays and I feel weird because there's absolutely nothing scheduled to do some Saturday mornings. And that's very new in my world and very weird. And I'm still trying to get used to it. And I like it. And I want to keep that. Okay, so I hope that helps you, Ma. Okay. I think there's another hand.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
Precious.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi. Okay. Thank you so much. Hi. Thank you so much for this. It's been amazing listening to everyone. I do have a question. So I have a 9 to 5, which is active, and also have a business which is active. So I work from home full time, like remote, and then I do my business alongside, which is something I've always wanted anyways, to be able to work from home and also do my business. But both of them are active. They require time, they require energy, focus, and all that, right? And then there's that place where let's say there are weekends where maybe I have to, maybe a friend is organizing something, I need to be there. But because of how tight my schedule is, like the entire week, I'm not able to make it to end, and then you feel guilty. So my question is, how do you overcome this guilt when you miss out on events just because, say, you're starting up as a startup business and you're trying to balance your work, you're also trying to balance your business, and also be there for your friends as well too, because at the end of the day, like Auntie Dunni said, is about your business should be, are you planning your business around life? I think that's what she said, that really hit me. Or is your life planned around your business? So how to find that balance where you don't feel guilty for not showing up because you're trying to focus on building something. Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, and that's a very great question. Let me even add to that question. Also dealing with mom guilt. Also dealing with mom guilt. Because it's one thing to even deal with the guilt of, oh, I lost out on a client, or I lost out on this hangout with my friends, but there was also the guilt of, oh, I didn't get to cook for my family, oh, I didn't get to go to my kids, practice game, or I forgot to take them to swimming. So yeah, how do we deal with all that guilt?
Yeah, and I just want to add to my very last question as well too, because I've seen people will be like, oh, I have a passive income. Let's say, like, I am in the cooking business where I bake Nigerian snacks and all that. So I just focus on Nigerian snacks alone. I don't do the rice, the soup, and all that. Just focus on snacks alone. And this, you just have to make them, give them out to clients fresh. And you're looking for ways where you can make it in such a way that you don't have to actively work, like actively put in work, and then you're still generating income but not working. Like, how do you create that from a business that requires you to do something, to put in time and money and effort to be able to get a return? That's my question. Thank you.
Dunni, do you want to go first?
Me? All right. Mom guilt. Oh my God. I have Sonia, you're laughing, right? I got boxes and buckets and all sorts of loads full of that. What do I say? Everything has a price. We have to exchange one thing for another. Um, but we must realize in sometimes paying the price of giving up time for friends or for family to achieve something, that you're also going to give something back, and it's not for always, right? If you miss the basketball game today, or I couldn't go for my kids, whatever they did, we're doing a draft, something. If you miss that one today, tomorrow you may not have to, because you could schedule that time around. So I think the first thing is to realize you are a great mom or you are a great friend, just in a different season, right? There was a season in your life where you weren't running that business, so you're available for them, right? But there's a season now where you're running this business, you're not going to always be available. So you must give yourself the freedom to realize you are in a different season, right? And with family and kids, I had to tell my kids, Mom won't be there all the time. I won't be at all the practices, but I'll show up at special games. So sometimes they come to me and say, okay, Mom, I want you at this game, right? And I show them what I'm doing. And it's also a reason to deliver. It's one of my reasons why I need to make sure I'm showing up and delivering my business, so that if I'm exchanging that time with them to be successful here, I need to show them something and come back with something, right? And I make them a part of what I do. You know, they're gonna make clients, they talk to their friends, parents, hey, my mom can help you. Right? So you got to talk about it with the people that are important to you. And if your friends can't understand you're in a different season, you might want some new friends, right? So let them know you are in a different season. I run my business now. You guys know that, right? Come and buy some more pastries. I can't go party with you today. Just buy some more pastries. Or maybe I'll go party with you tomorrow, right? So, and it's a trade-off. If you talk to any successful person, I'm sure Sonia is going to tell you the same thing. We're trade-offs, right? I don't like using the word sacrifice, but we're Christian people, so you know sacrifice. God had to sacrifice Jesus. He gave him up. He wasn't in heaven. He died so he could get you. But he was willing to do it knowing that when he got you, he was getting better value, right? So that's how I want you to see that. So take away the mom guilt, the friend guilt. It's a trade-off. I'm trading up this time today to build this thing so that tomorrow I can take all my girlfriends to Boca Raton, right, to Costa Rica. I have a business where I can pay to take them all to Costa Rica. They won't complain anymore, right? So just laughing.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Right. So you gotta realize it's a trade-off. What was your second question? And then I'll hand over to Sonia.
My second question is when you have like an active business that requires you to keep putting the time into showing up.
How do you scale up? Each business is different. Some businesses, that scale up is natural. For example, what Sonia does and what I do is kind of natural, the scale up. But reality is, although I use the word natural, the only way to scale up in anything is not being the only person who is income producing in that business, right? If all your money only comes from what you can do in your business, you're chained to the business, right? Which is what you're talking about. You're trying to scale up. To scale up, you need to be able to transform the business where there are 5, 10, 20, 30, 100 of you doing the same thing. So whether you're there or not, you're still making money. But if you're the only person in your business who generates the income, then you're tied to it. So maybe hire some employees, 1 or 2 people who come in and make pastries and you teach them how. Maybe find a way to create a franchise of your product, right? Where you can teach other people how to make the pastries and you get paid for it. Move yourself from just being a pastry distributor to a wholesaler, right? And then you have more people. So scaling up, it's actually a more detailed conversation. Some businesses are naturally fitted to scale up where you can recruit 10, 20, 30 people if they're making sales or whatever. you've scaled up, you don't have to be there. Some businesses like what you do or what Diola does, you have to scale up differently, but it's a more deeper conversation. But yeah, you need more people to be able to achieve.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Of great advice, Dunni. I mean, I always said, if you look in the dictionary of the word of mother, you'll see guilt. It just that we go hand in hand, and it is difficult. But you know what? To have more, you have to invest a little bit more. I mean, how many times, in the past when my kids were small, yes, I missed soccer games. I missed I missed a whole host of things because I couldn't be there, and, it's funny because I remember when my kids were little, they would get very upset when I couldn't be there. And, of course, then the guilt comes out. But then years later, I have 3 grown sons now. I mean, my sons are all in their 30s, and each one of them has come to me and they have grown themselves because they saw the sacrifices that I made. And they admire that in me. I mean, they see me as a very strong, independent woman who, had to give up, I mean, we all have to sacrifice, we all have to give up something, as far as, like being able to spend less time, that's, I guess, why I kind of liked going into the e-commerce aspect of business, because I'm making passive income. I had to work. I had to ask people to look at my products. I had to ask people to join my business. I had to ask, you have to ask for the sale. You have to ask for what you want. People don't just flock to you. But as I built that business, now I've got residual income. I've got clients that are ordering on a regular basis. And that's business that I don't have to spend much time on. And the same thing with building a team. I mean, I'm not doing this business by myself. I have a team of people that have seen this business for what it can what it can give them. And I'm mind you, I'm nurturing them as well, but they are off building their own businesses, and I'm benefiting by that. And that's that creates that great residual income. It creates a great asset income. Finding the time. I mean, do you surf, do you go through Facebook? I mean, I will, I mean, yes, I spend time looking at my posts on Facebook and looking at Instagram, but I'm also looking for people that I can offer my business to at the same time. So I might be, doing something which I think is mindless and I'm losing time. But if I see somebody post something that they might be interested in what I have, it took me all of 30 seconds to send them a quick message. So, there is time. And again, you have to decide your worth, what you're worth, and sacrifice that little bit of time for the long-term gain.
Awesome. Amazing. Adeola, do you have anything to add to that?
I think someone said it earlier, which is just knowing the type of business that you have. There are some businesses that indeed to move to the next level, you just have to scale up. Before you were taking orders and it was like maybe making 50 meat pie, but now somebody's bringing 150 and your capacity is now beyond 150. You have to get help, right? You have to get help to be able to do that. So I feel like it depends on kind of business for scaling up and all of that. For someone like me now, yes, I can do a small event, I can do a big event, but if someone calls me now for an event and it's like 1,000 people, it will force me to make some changes immediately, right? So I think that's just part of it.
Okay, awesome. And I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Can I just say something about, I hear a lot of people saying charity, and I think I've been there before. So my business started with my pastor's wife encouraging me to do it because I was doing it for church for free. She's like, how about you turn it into a business? And I started from there, right? And then when the churches placed an order, as I'm a Christian, so I go, I do big for churches, and I'm like, oh, give us discounts, it's the church. And I used to feel guilty about it. I'm like, and I'd be like, no, it is a business. If it's a church event, I'm doing it for church. I probably know this is me. It's coming from my business free to the church. But if the church placing an order, that, then they have to pay for it. And then it started like that. And I started praying about, God, I really just want to be a blessing. And then the place of tithing came into mind when the Bible said, bring 1/10 of your income, as gift into church. I started giving churches 10% discount. So that helps with the whole charity when it comes to, church, where they're like, oh, won't you give me this? And like, just so you know, all churches get 10% discount. So that actually helps. So you can look at how you can do discount for people that in that way can also help with the charitable business syndrome.
Yeah, Precious, talk to me after and I'll tell you how
Good
that
to
can be
know,
a tax
Precious,
advantage.
10% for church. Good to know. Teenage church too is church.
No, but mine came from a place of mine came from a place of conviction, from a place of being a blessing, and I knew it was
10% discount for
yes.
church.
So when you pray, pray on it. I want the Holy Spirit to inspire. Whatever you can do, 20%, you can do 15%. But me, I just based on the tithing part of it. I'm like, okay, this is. But I'll talk to you, Ma. I'll call you after.
And what you just mentioned there's actually a tax advantage that you can claim on there if you're doing it that way. So talk to me later and I can show you how that works.
Thank you, Ma.
All right. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. This has been really good. We didn't even get rid of our questions, but I usually appreciate the questions that are generated from the conversation. Is there still a hand up for that too, Precious?
That's so Precious, I think.
Okay.
Let me bring down my hand. Sorry.
Yes, I did that for you already. All right. So thank you. We're actually literally 4 minutes left in this. And I just want to say thank you to our guests. We didn't get through all of the questions, but I want to ask this one question, and that will be the closeout question. And then if Ejisu will take over from there. And that is, if you want to leave all of us with one thing, just one thing today that we need to walk away from here to remember, to think about as we close out the session for Ladies Arise for this cycle, what will it be with regards to developing, whether it's our business or skilling our business or whatever it is? What is the one thing that you want us to walk away from here, really thinking about and forget everything else, don't forget this one thing. What's that advice?
Can I go first? Because I do have to leave. I do have to leave at the top of the hour because I have another meeting. So I just want, it's very short. Just believe in yourself. You are worth everything that you deserve, that you think you deserve. You are worth everything that the world has to offer, that God has to offer, and keep that first and foremost in your mind. I think we as women tend to give too much to everybody else, and we forget about nurturing ourselves and putting ourselves important. And we are the most important to there's that old saying, if you can't make yourself happy, how can you make anybody, or if you don't love yourself, how can anybody else love you? So please just know that you are special, you are loved, and you are, you deserve everything that your heart desires, and just go out there. And if you believe in yourself, you can achieve it. You really can.
Hey, awesome. Thank you. Sonia has to go, so please let's give her a very virtual, very warm virtual clap.
Love you. Love you all.
Thanks, Sonia. I'll reach out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. And thank you so much for the opportunity. It was a pleasure chatting with you all, and hopefully we'll be able to continue the conversation. Bye.
Absolutely.
Bye,
Thanks.
Sonia.
Bye, Sonia.
Bye.
Okay. All right, Dunni.
Wow, I think I was gonna follow up on what Sonia said. So if Sonia told you to believe in yourself, I'm gonna tell you to believe in God, that God wants you successful. I think, like I said, most of us here are Christians, and those watching. Until you truly believe that God wants you successful, you will find every excuse to be unsuccessful. But if you truly believe that God wants you successful, and you also add the belief in yourself, there's a scripture I love so much. Paul said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So there were two people involved there. Paul could do all things through Christ who strengthens him, right? So you must have your belief in yourself And you must believe in God beyond the shadow of a doubt. Like, so whatever I lay my hands on to prospers. It wasn't a joke, it was reality. Right? That he says you are blessed in the city, you are blessed in the field, you're blessed when you come and when you go. So you got to trust God with your business and believe he wants you successful, because he does. He's so passionate about you. He wants you successful.
Awesome, beautiful. Believe in yourself. Believe God wants you successful. It is so true. That's for me. That's one piece that I know I'm struggling with. And the truth is, they impact each other. If you can't believe in yourself, you can't believe in the God who created you. And if you can't believe in God, it really will be hard to believe in yourself, because you're seeing yourself only from your limited human, mindset. So they work hand in hand. Thank you so much for that, Adeola.
Yeah, honestly, I'm like, okay, maybe I should have gone next. So I stopped up first, because I was going to say, yes, I can do all things. I can do all things. Like, I say that to myself, like, for every event, for every business, it's like, I can do all things. I can. All things are possible. All designs are possible. I say it a lot because it's hard for you to take people's money, to take people's money and you say you're going to deliver. And at the end of the day, they're like, you don't deliver, and no. I've been there and I cry and and all of that. So honestly, you have to actually be confident. You have to be confident that what you're about to give to someone, it's valuable. What you're about to give out, that particular skill, that particular talent that you have, it is valuable, and it is not common. It is not common. So sometimes you feel like, oh, but everybody can plan now, but everybody can cook now. No, it is not common. Some of us, we can cook, but we do not like cooking.
Some of us cannot cook.
So it is valuable, and then just be confident that what you're
And
about
some
to
of
give out
us
is
don't
valuable.
want to cook again. Some of us don't want to cook again. We can cook, but we don't want to go into the kitchen again. Lord have mercy.
Amen. Awesome. So it is valuable. It is not common. Oh, that is so good. That is so good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. It's really been great to have you with us. It's really been great to have everyone here today. It's I've learned. Like, I don't know if you want to share in the chat, what is one thing that you're taking away from here today? What is one thing that you're taking away from here today? Just share with us quickly in the chat. Let's see what everyone has to say. What have you learned? What is your biggest thing that you're taking from here today? And I'll turn it over to Ife just so that we can she can just give us some closing remarks and announcements, and then we can go on from there and move on with the rest of our weekend. I am a business person. Ife says that. If I've said you also, the remaining one that comes, you read it out to us, and I'll share mine too.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much. I feel like this was just so enlightening. Just what I needed. I'm sure all of us learned something from you. If you learned something, can you just put the clap emoji? Let's clap for all our guests, everybody that actually shared their knowledge with us. Let's clap. We are really, 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 really grateful for this. We're grateful to Stanita for organizing this. We are grateful to the guests for honoring the invitation and coming and actually talking to us and answering our questions. Yes, I think we've come to the end of this. This video will actually be publicly available. So it's going to be on YouTube. You can go back, watch it. You can share with your friends. Go back and write notes if you need motivation. Whenever you're feeling like, oh, I want to quit this business, or should I actually start? You can go back, watch it, remind yourself about why you actually need to forge ahead and to keep going. And this will be our last session actually for the 2021-2022 section for Ladies Arise. Whew, that was, I know, right? Everybody. Yeah, so we're going to be starting a new session, I think in September, and it's going to be all different. We'll get more people to lead. So we're going to be tapping people. This time, it's not just going to be Auntie Anita that will be organizing and doing everything. We're going to get more people to participate. Before the end of the session, we're also thinking of doing a get-together, in-person get-together. And I'm sure Auntie Anita has plans for those of us that are outside Regina, so we will get to actually enjoy the good deeds. Staff Funke has already told us she's very good at planning stuff, so I'm sure we have a planner already. It's going to be awesome, so we can all look forward to that later on. Yeah, so thank you all for coming. Thank you all. I hope you all learned something. Looking forward to, and if we can put the laughing emoji, looking forward to meeting everybody and next session and actually learning with you guys, growing with you guys, and I guess just being what do you call it? Being empowered as a lady. So thank you all for coming. Thank you. See you.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you, Auntie Dunni. Thank you, Adeola. We didn't get to see the productive.
Thank you for having us here.
Sorry? What did you say?
Productive, or you're still doing it?
I don't know if you can. Okay, I think I will have to remove my
your background.
Like
if you want
my,
to see
my background.
what you have been working on, you can say that. If not,
yeah. So I have to go none. There we go. I'm not sure if you can see it.
Wow.
It's coming together. We're going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's coming together. We'll keep going. All righty. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye.
All right, bye. Thanks, Anita, for having us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring it. God bless you.